Alright, listen, buying a new gun these days feels like walking through a minefield. You scroll through flashy ads, every brand screaming best value ever like they're trying to sell you a used car instead of a tool that could save your life. And half the time, you're just paying for the name stamped on the slide. But let me tell you something. I've seen guns run circles around $700 models for half the price. I've carried them, shot them till they were hot enough to brand cattle, and I've seen some so-called budget pistols outshoot fancy ones that came in velvet boxes. This list isn't sponsored, isn't corporate. It's real. Guns that punch above their price, that survive the beatings, that don't choke when you need them most. These are the pistols that make me say, why the hell didn't I buy this sooner? And trust me, by the time we hit number 1, you're gonna wonder if you've been wasting money this whole time. Let's get into this. I once saw this pistol get dropped off a tailgate of a moving truck. No joke, during a hog hunt out near Uvalde. Guy was fumbling with a cooler, gun slipped off the edge, bounced off the bumper, hit the gravel like a damn rock skipping water. We all winced and thought it was toast. He picked it up, gave it a once-over, tapped the mag back in, and guess what? Thing fired clean, on and on. We were burning rounds at steel silhouettes an hour later, and it ran like it never tasted dirt. That was the Ruger Security 9 Compact, back when you can grab one for just under $330 easy. Now, try finding it under $450. They jacked the price, but I ain't mad. It still holds up. It's not striker fired either. It's got this internal hammer, which a lot of folks don't realize. Trigger feels different than your average Glock knockoff, but once you get a feel for it, it just works. Kinda like a ratchet wrench. I'll be damned if it doesn't save your skin when the fancy tools jam. It's not a showpiece, and it's not going to win any awards on YouTube, but if you want a gun that shrugs off gravel, grime, heat, and bad ammo, this little Ruger's earned its keep. And I'll say this, if your idea of budget is something that survives Texas roads and still groups tight at 20 yards, you're looking at it. I know folks love to roast Celtic. They see polymer and they think plastic toy. But one night, I had a guy pull this P15 out of a console in a '98 Ford Explorer, and the damn thing had 2 glow sticks rubber banded to the frame. Said he couldn't afford a weapon light, swore it worked. And honestly, that sums up this gun's whole vibe. Weird, scrappy, surprisingly reliable, and dirt cheap when it first dropped. I remember seeing these go for $325 out the door, and nowadays, try low $400 if you can even find them. Now let's be honest, it's not going to win any beauty contests. It's got this long skinny slide, front fiber sight, and a grip that feels like Celtic molded it off a garden hose. But somehow, it points well, and 15+1 in a single stack thin frame? That's black magic. I put a few boxes through one just to say I did, expecting it to rattle itself apart, but nope, it just ran. A little snappy, sure, feels like it wants to jump out of your hand if you're lazy with your grip, but functionality? It's one of those guns that make you go, well, I'll be damned. You don't brag about carrying a Celtic, but there's something admirable about a gun that shows up, works, and doesn't pretend to be anything it's not, like that guy at the cookout who brings gas station hot dogs but ends up grilling better than everyone. You'll hear folks bash it, let them. The P15 knows what it is, and it doesn't care what you think. There was a guy in my old neighborhood who swore by this gun, drove a beat-up Ford Ranger, carried every day, and wouldn't touch anything that cost more than a week's worth of groceries. I once asked him why the hell he trusted the SD9VE when there were so many fancier options out there. He looked at me and said, because it never said no. That stuck with me. Back in the day, you could find these for $279 on sale. Not joking. Full size, 16+1, decent sights, stainless steel. It was the Walmart king of 9mm pistols. No frills, No showboating. Just a solid hammer-down gun that functioned better even after a decade stuffed in a cheap Uncle Mike's holster under a mechanic's jumpsuit. And now, it's creeping up into the low 400s, maybe a bit less if you know where to look. Still budget, sure, but it ain't the same no more excuses price it used to be. Trigger's gritty, I won't lie. It's like pulling through a bag of gravel, but you learn it. It smooths out with time. You start trusting it like a worn pair of boots. It's not about speed, it's about knowing the damn thing won't fail you when your back's against a tree stump. The ST9VE is the definition of working class firepower. You don't see influencers talking about it, but real shooters, the ones with oil on their jeans and cracked boots, they'll nod when they see it. It earned that nod, and that's enough. This one, I'll be straight. I had a bad run with the G3C. I picked it up during one of those Taurus clearance sales. It was cheap, looked good, and came with 3 mags in the box. Figured, what the hell, let's see if it holds up. And for a while, it did. First couple of 100 rounds, smooth enough. But when the jam started, slide hung up, magazine wouldn't seat right once. I even had a light stroke that left me standing there looking stupid. I cleaned it, tried better ammo, still happened. The worst part? Support from Taurus was a joke. Emails went unanswered, phone calls passed around. Eventually, I just gave up, tossed it in the safe, and never looked back. Now here's the thing, and I'll admit this part ticks me off. Other guys love this thing. I've got buddies who've run thousands of rounds through their G3Cs with no issues. They say I must have gotten a lemon, and maybe they're right. Or maybe I expected more from a gun you bet your life on. Would I buy another? No. Not after mine let me down. But I still put it on this list, not because I trust it, and I don't, but because so many shooters out there do. You go online, you'll see it called a budget king. People swear it's better than the Shield or the EC9S, and for $240 back then, I get why. So here's the truth. If you trust the market, maybe you roll the dice. Just don't say I didn't warn you. The first time I saw the PSA Dagger, I thought, what's the catch? It looked like a Glock clone that had just come back from finishing school. Front serrations, optic-ready slide, decent trigger, and all that for what? Around $300? I've seen holsters cost more than that. Now let me tell you a little story. Back in 2021, I was helping a buddy teach a new shooter out at a dusty little outdoor range outside of Amarillo. He brought with him 2 pistols, his old Gen 3 Glock 19 and a brand new Dagger he picked up for cheap during one of PSA's wild clearance weeks. You know the type, blink and the deal's done. We ran drills, slow fire, double taps, and by the time we packed up, the Dagger had outshot the Glock. Not in accuracy, that's on the shooter, but in comfort, in confidence, in grip feel, in that weird, damn this thing just clicks with me kind of way. That kid, he walked away wanting the Dagger. But the gun isn't perfect. Some folks have had trouble with tolerances, finish wear, picky mags. Well, you get what you pay for, and sometimes that means quirks. But PSA keeps cranking them out, cleaning up the flaws, and keeping the price shockingly low. These days, even with optics cuts and upgraded barrels, you're still sitting below $350. The Dagger is a statement, not just from PSA, but from the entire budget world. It says, you don't need $800 to be dangerous. And I'll be honest, it makes me wonder how much of the market is smoke and stickers, because this thing, it just works. I still remember the first time I picked up a Canic TP9 SF at a gun show booth in Houston. Guy behind the table leaned in and said, "You ever shoot one of these? Careful, you'll start asking why you ever paid full price for anything." And he wasn't wrong. This pistol came in at just over $300 back then with a trigger that felt like it belonged on something twice the price. Flat face, crisp wall, clean break. I shot Glocks, MPs, even a couple of CZs, but this, it surprised me. Not because it was Turkish made, Not because it didn't feel cheap, it felt precise. Now here's where it gets weird. A friend of mine, ex-military, swore off foreign plastic pistols, said he'd never trust one. I let him run a mag through the TP9SF. He burned through it, looked at me, and just shook his head. I'm pissed. I love it. That's the Canic thing. You go in skeptical, you come out a believer. The slide fit, the grip angle, the fiber optics, it's all there. You just don't expect it to be all under $350, and yet it is. Sure, it's not a CCW dream. Full size, a bit chunky, long slide, but if you want something that runs like a champ on the range, eats anything, and puts every dollar into performance over brand, the TP9SF is hard to ignore. It's just so solid, and sometimes that's exactly what you need. Now don't go anywhere. My #1 pick is something I saw in a tornado shelter, and trust me, it'll stick with you. Let's not dress this one up. The CCY CPX2 Gen 3 isn't a pistol I'd recommend if you've got other solid options sitting on the shelf. I had one, bought it new for under $250 and sold it within a year. But here's the thing. For that price, it works. The double action trigger is long and gritty, the recoil springs feel stiff out of the box, and I had a couple of feed issues early on, but it fired. Every time it had to, it fired. I ran a couple of hundred rounds through mine, cleaned it up, and passed it along. If you're tight on budget, and I mean real tight, this is one of the last true sub $300 carry pistols left. Lifetime warranty, decent customer service, and it'll go bang if someone kicks your door in. That's more than some people get. It's a beginner gun, a hold-you-over gun, or maybe your glove box gun, but don't expect anything fancy and don't take it to a match. I've moved on since then, but for someone who needs protection today and only has $200 tomorrow, this could be a damn important option. Tight? This is one of the last true sub $300 carry pistols left. Lifetime warranty, decent customer service, and it'll go bang if someone kicks your door in. That's more than some people get. It's a beginner gun, a hold-you-over gun, or maybe your glove box gun, but don't expect anything fancy and don't take it to a match. I've moved on since then, but for someone who needs protection today and only has $200 tomorrow, this could be a damn important option. This one's close to home. The Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus carry has been my go-to carry gun for years now. Not one of those used to or cycle through guns. Nope, this one stuck, and there's a reason for that. It fits me, like exactly. The grip, the balance, the trigger, it's all right where I need it. I've got me some medium-sized hands, nothing crazy, but the Shield Plus feels like it was built for me. No finger hanging, no pinky dancing off the bottom, no slight bite, just locked in confidence. And reliability, zero complaints. Thousands of rounds through this one, and I can't even remember a single malfunction worth mentioning. It just runs every time. This thing was a game changer when it dropped. You got higher capacity over the original Shield, flat face trigger, optional optics-ready models, all without ballooning the size. And the price? It's always floated between $399 and $499 depending on sales. For what it delivers, that's stupid good value. And I'll tell you this, I've tested Glocks, I've tried Hellcats, I've played with P365s, and I still come back to this one every time. Not because it's fancy, not because it's hype, but because I trust it. And that's what a carry gun is about, right? It's not supposed to impress people at the range. It's supposed to disappear under a t-shirt and show up without hesitation if everything goes south. This one always has. Now this one right here, the Stoker STR9C, it caught me completely off guard. I didn't walk into the store looking for it. Honestly, I was just there to grab more ammo, maybe browse some holsters, but then I saw this little beast sitting in the budget section, $329 new, optics ready, solid steel sights, and it actually felt good in the hand. I remember thinking, wait a second, why does this feel more expensive than a Glock? Took it home, cleaned it, and ran 500 rounds that same week. Not a single hiccup, nada. And the thing felt like it was chewing through the ammo with purpose. Crisp reset, good slide control, even the trigger wasn't half bad. Now it's not match grade, but it isn't trying to be. It's a working man's pistol, just like the old Gen 3 Glocks used to be before everything started going boutique. And here's the kicker, most people still don't know this gun exists. They'll drop $600 on something with fancy serrations or some TikTok influencer's logo and overlook this blue-collar brawler that just runs and runs. I've loaned mine out to 2 different friends who were between guns. One bought their own, the other still borrowing mine, and I haven't even asked it back for it. This is that kind of gun. No marketing hype, no overpriced accessories, just a damn good pistol at a price that still feels like a win. I was in Tulsa visiting family when a tornado warning hit. Sirens going off, sky turning yellow. We piled into a neighbor's storm shelter. 6 of us, knees to chests, huddled in that rusty tin box with canned beans and a battery radio humming static. And that's when I saw it. The guy next to me, total stranger, had an Eric's Delta Gen 2M tucked inside a beat-up nylon holster. No light, no red dot, just bone stick. He saw me glance and gave a little nod like, yeah, it's all I need. Later that week, after the all clear, I asked him about it. He bought it 2 years earlier for $379, said it was the only pistol he could afford after losing his job. Didn't want to trust my life to something cheap, he told me. But this one's never let me down, and I believed him. You could tell by how he carried it. No hesitation, no showboating, just quiet confidence. I picked one up when I got back to Texas. Been through heat, rain, thousands of rounds of bargain bin ammo, not a single hiccup. Lightweight, optics ready, excellent ergonomics, and way more performance than the price suggests. This isn't the gun people brag about on forums. It's the one they rely on when things get real. Eric's didn't try to impress the market, they just built a pistol that survives real life. And there you have it, my friends. These are the budget guns I've messed with, carried, borrowed, sold, and some I still trust. They're not perfect by any means. Hell, a couple of them even gave me trouble. But for the money, they did the job. Now, I'm not saying go and buy all of them, but if you're on a budget and you need something that actually works, this is a pretty good place to start. Some of these I'd grab again in a heartbeat, and others, nah, not so much. Point is, you don't need to spend $1,000 to protect yourself. Anyways, do let me know down in the comments what your go-to cheap pistol is, because I want to hear all about it. I really do. I'm Steve, and thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you again next time.